You know that whenever a game opens up with a 70s classic, House of the Rising Sun, that is just going to be good. Hi there everybody, this is David, and in today's sponsored video, I do want to talk about the latest indie RPG to hit the scene, My Familiar. It is releasing for the PC in Q4 of next year, but there is a pretty extensive demo available to you all that I do want to spotlight today, and I also do think that that is definitely worth a sub, as I try my hardest to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. With your help, your like, and your sub, I just know that I can get there, so thank you so much for that. This game can best be described as like Earthbound meets up with Mario RPG, but in hell. Yeah, it's definitely a unique spin, and it's full of humor, real-world references, zany characters, but most importantly, tons of fun. And if anytime during this video you would like to learn more about My Familiar, or even try it out for yourself, please just click the links below located in the video description. And now with that, let's jump out of a window, commit suicide, and land in hell. Yeah, I wasn't kidding about that, so here's how it opens up. It's 1988, and you're a teenage kid named Danny, living in Texas with his family, along with his good-for-nothing brother and best friend Isla. Danny is a member of a failed band, so now he's working as a DJ, and he's on his way to a job. Only whenever he gets there, it's all sorts of shady, and he ends up getting robbed for his sound equipment in order to pay back his deadbeat brother's debt. But instead of just getting himself robbed quietly, he instead decides to moronically jump out of a window to escape. But that doesn't exactly go according to plan, and once he hits the pavement, well, you know the rest. Bitch is in hell. But it's not exactly like a fire and brimstone hell. Instead, it's like a 1980s kind of inner city dumpster fire sort of hell. But it all works. The whole setting kind of gave me those 80s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon vibes, from the boomboxes to the graffiti to the mutant inhabitants, some of whom look strikingly familiar to Bebop and Rocksteady, but I grew up on that cartoon, and I was here for it. The world is incredibly detailed with great pixel art. All the characters look unique, from the pig and the snake cops, to the sheep barbers, to the fishy townsfolk. You can tell that a lot of love and creativity went into this one, but not only in the graphics, also in the humor. Like whenever Danny lands and he says that it's full of garbage and there's no signs of intelligent life, so that must be Galveston. I've been to Galveston before, and that definitely got a laugh out of me. Later on, he finds a loaded gun inside of a safe, and then he remarks, well, that's not exactly abnormal for Texas. And all the conversations with all the NPCs are like this too. It's full of humor, inside jokes, and I loved it. Now, let's talk about the combat. Encounters occur on screen, they're not random, and it's your basic turn-based battling along with some timed hits. You'll see two targets in a ring over your head, and when the targets align and the ring glows green, that is your cue to press confirm and unleash a dope hit. But if you do it too early or either get like a weak hit or just a nice hit, you definitely want to go for those dopes. But if you are a dope, like me, you can always just turn off the timed hits in the configuration menu, and then you'll just do standard attacks all the time. And while there are timed attacks, it doesn't look like timed blocking is a thing, so don't worry about that. Also, there is a turn order gauge on the bottom of the screen, and sometimes enemies will get like an exclamation point over their heads, so that's sort of you can really turn up the strategy and use your skills to cancel their attacks, kind of like in Grandia. Not only that, but each weapon type has its own associated damage type. Like the baseball bat will deal blunt damage, while a pistol will deal piercing damage, and whenever an enemy is weak to a particular type, it will explicitly pop up and say like, hey, this enemy is weak to that. It's going to deal 50% more damage. And the same thing can be said for whenever they're resistant too, adding yet another layer to the combat. After battle, you'll get experience points and gold, and whenever you level up, you'll be fully healed and have the chance of learning a new skill. This is really nice because this is another one of those indie games that doesn't believe in ends. So you've got to balance your item usage with your level ups to ensure that you stay strong enough to survive. It is hell after all, and you don't restore your HP after each fight either. This system really does ensure that you explore the maps fully, because you can't buy consumable healing items either. You can buy equipment and you can buy accessories, but healing? No ma'am. So you'd better scour that map for sparklies and safes filled with treasures to keep your items and your status up to par. I personally used to kind of hate that whole no-in philosophy that some indie games would use, but I've grown to actually kind of see the merit in it, as long as it is well done, because I hate it whenever I'm constantly on death's doorstep, and don't really know what's going on, and I can't really survive. Here though, it's different. A lot of the enemies drop items, and there's tons of sparklies hidden around the underworld, so it does work. It makes you think quick on your feet and get immersed into the world, especially because there is no minimap or larger map to spoon feed you along, though you are told what your missions are, and the game does keep track of those for you. There are shops, but they work almost like they do in Zelda, and they literally just kind of like appear, you can use them once, and then they'll disappear, and they only sell accessories, no items, so you'd better make use of them while they are there. The houses are explorable. Whenever you're inside, you can step on like maggots and rats and stuff and squish them. It's disgusting, but again, it works with that whole growth aesthetic. I was here for it. And now, let's talk about the world. My Familiar really took the 80s style and ran with it. You'll be dancing to boom boxes and even saving on cassette tapes. I grinned from ear to ear whenever I saw that. While you aren't trapped in hell, you do meet a friendly familiar called Kato, and he tells you that you're on the island of Wish, and the other people here are called Drogas, who are essentially familiars who've lost their way. They're all apathetic and they don't really care about anything, but you want to get out of Dodge, and Kato tells you that the only way to do that is to climb up Mount Ren. Then at the top of the mountain, in the middle of a small lake, there is an island, and if you make it to that island, you can catch an airship to escape. But no one makes that journey anymore, because it's too much work and the tyrants built up a wall to keep the Drogas all trapped inside, and then they kind of like come inside and they capture them to be their slaves. So it's up to you to make it out of there in one piece, even though nobody else wants to help you or really even seems to care. So, you do make it out of that first town, only to get stopped in the next town because you don't have a passport. But as luck would have it, you do see this like little bird dude who has a passport, so you follow him, only to find out that he is a raging drunk. But you do manage to convince him to let you tag along as his private eye assistant, helping to solve some pretty old cases, since he is derelict in his duties. The cases, though, they're not busy work. They're fun and they send you all over town, clearing out the monsters in the closets, which turns out to be actually, two different families' homes, stopping a dumpster diver, even though he was hired to clean out the dumpster, and even ransacking a distillery in the back of a barber shop. Those barber sheep aren't too happy about it though, so you've got to escape, and you grab a van and you drive like a bat out of hell, only to crash into a diner, which culminates in an epic boss fight. This fight here is so cool, and if it's any indication of what the bosses are going to be like in the final game, it's great. You have to fight the diner people, who are, a plate, a fork, and a spoon, as well as the barbershop sheep too. But the silverware people don't really like the sheep people, and they'll attack each other as well as you, while you pick them all off. Eventually, though, the barbershop king will join in the fray, and all hell breaks loose. This was a boss fight for the ages, and it kept me on my toes, and I was super thankful that I really explored, because I needed all the items that I could get my hands on to survive. After it was all over, though, we had to get out of there. So we used that passport, the snake cop let us by, and the demo ended. But it ended with like a rap song. Like we got a whole rap montage scene. How cool is that? All told, I had a great time with My Familiar. The demo took me roughly an hour and a half to complete. The humor and the 80s vibe was on point, the battle system was intuitive and fun, and the challenge was there without being too overwhelming. So if you love that style that it's going for like Earthbound meets Mario RPG, then I personally guarantee that you're going to love My Familiar. And if you do want to learn more about it or try the demo out for yourself, please just click the links below, because this indie RPG definitely has it going on. And if you do like this video, here's another video that I really do think that you're going to enjoy, going over some great RPGs. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to check out that video too, and as always, have a good day.